Welcome, everybody, as the American Space Museum brings you Backyard Astronomy with me, Stargazer MarQ. We're so glad that you're with us to help you stay star curious about what's in the night sky. In this episode, we're going to show you a couple backyard telescopes that are affordable in the range of $500 to $1,000. That is the next step that you take up from what we talked about last episode, telescopes like this that are $100 at your big box stores. And one of the downsides of them is this mount here that it is called the equatorial mount and kind of unwieldy, particularly when the telescopes get bigger, like this telescope that is a refracting telescope. Whoop, can't hold that one-handed, just like this one. Put them over there on that side. But this is about a 4-inch diameter with a beautiful bluish, greenish cast to that lens there. And this one's a milky white cast showing it's plastic, so kind of stay away from those. But every week we want to show you a little bit about backyard astronomy, and so grateful that Marty Winkle's behind the camera. He's going to zoom in on a couple of the gadgets here that we're going to talk about. Jessica Galloway's doing our computer tech work behind the scenes. The whole idea of this is to make you comfortable looking at the universe from your own backyard, and to keep you star curious on our Stay Curious program that many of you enjoy every weekday. Visible on 3 platforms right now: YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So tell your friends to share, like, subscribe, and what else? Follow. Yeah, follow. Jessica reminds me over there. Well, we want to get into a little bit about these telescopes, and last week we showed you how to maximize these very cheap telescopes to see Jupiter, Saturn, and the moon this fall, because fall 2021 is when they're going to be gorgeous in our nighttime sky. But this is a telescope that pretty much is a mirror, and this has revolutionized the industry. As I'm moving the mirror on there, you see the reflections there from some of the light there. There's a mirror in the back that shoots the light up to this other device that we call a spider that 190 degrees out shoots the light. And you put your eyepiece in there, and that's where you're looking at things in the night sky. All right, like I'm looking at Marty right now. Of course, we talked about last episode to align your finder in the daytime with something like a street light or mountain peak or peak of a tree, so that when you have this lined up and you look through the moon and Saturn or Jupiter, everything's right in there. Of course, there's many other objects to see, and with a telescope of this caliber, an 8-inch mirror, that is the key to the light gathering power that you magnify with your eyepieces. And you want to start out with the lowest number eyepiece, like 25, and then build up as the night sky allows you to see more detail. Once it kind of blobs out and Jupiter and Saturn are kind of getting too fuzzy, you've reached the limit of your magnification and you can back off to a lower eyepiece. Usually these telescopes come with 3 eyepieces, a 25, a 12, and something like a 9mm or a 6. Higher the number, the lower the power. But this telescope is called a Dobsonian, and we have it on the table here because on the ground you can't see the gun turret situation that's here. This telescope revolutionized astronomy. We call it in the 1970s and 80s. Why? Because we went from putting telescopes on literally in the 50s and 60s, putting them on plumbing parts because it had a bend there to match the rotation of the Earth's turning the stars over us at an angle according to your latitude. A man named John Dobson, a Jesuit priest who I had the pleasure to meet at a couple star parties, put a reflecting telescope that was invented by Isaac Newton in the 1640s and put it on a gun turret, basically. And what you have is an alta-azimuth mount, up and down, not equatorial mount that follows the stars. Now you got to push this around, and it doesn't have any motors on it to push it around and move it. We're going to talk about telescopes with motors and computers on them our next episode of Backyard Astronomy. But that's okay to push things around like this, because you all of a sudden you could have a bigger mirror, and that was the key to these Dobsonians. Here's the mirror in the bottom. Whoops. Here's the mirror in the bottom in the cell there. All of a sudden, people are building 15, 14, 20-inch telescopes. I've been a 3-foot telescope before that you couldn't do when an equatorial mount would be too heavy to build the mount. So they made it a Dobsonian mount, and these are easy to build. I built a couple myself out of a piece of plywood, and you use Teflon as your agent there to Teflon as the material to move this smoothly. Literally revolutionized astronomy. You'll see any of these Dobsonian telescopes, we call them. They're reflectors at any of the places that you would Google to find telescopes, and we hope that you use Amazon because we're part of the American Space Museum. Your favorite nonprofit is part of the Amazon Smile program, and there's certainly a lot of good telescopes there. I'm willing to help you. Message us, make a comment. We'll make sure that I get back to you. There's no simple question of what's the best telescope to buy. One of the reasons about that is portability, okay? Are you going to have it in a shed in the backyard, or are you going to put it in your car and go up on top of a mountaintop or out in the flat fields of Kansas somewhere where it's nice and dark to do some stargazing? So the size of your telescope is sometimes limited by the size of the vehicle you're going to carry it in, all right? Also, these are investments for the family to use and be handed down if you take care of them, like a gun, like any good quality item that your family invests in. Another note that I have here is, Mark, do I use glasses? What if I wear glasses and I'm nearsighted? Well, we suggest that you try to use your glasses when you're looking through a telescope, okay? Nearsighted people, yes, you probably will want to use your glasses, but farsighted people, it becomes an optical instrument correcting your eyesight. So if you're farsighted, no, you probably won't need to use your glasses. But try it with both and see what's comfortable. And you got to be patient, okay? You got to be patient and look at things and just not glance at them, but absorb what you're looking at, all right? This is a scientific instrument. Every moment you're looking through it, there's clouds and atmosphere turbulence passing in front of you, whether it's over the neighbor's house where the roof is emanating heat, or 30,000 miles up in the air where the jet stream is. So you'll actually see moments of oh, wow, that cleared up, momentarily, and you see a brilliant seeing moment where you see the bands on Jupiter more distinctly than you did just a minute before. That's the fun of stargazing, and what us amateur astronomers get many, many years of enjoyment out of that. So, well, I wanted to segue over here from a Dobsonian telescope that, like I said, these are readily available in the $300 to $500 to $700 range. This one has a little bit of intelligence built into it, where there are wires connected to it that once you key in what it's looking at, it will tell you as you're moving, are you going to the Andromeda galaxy and how close you are to it. All right, so this is the beginning of computerization that we're going to talk about on an episode of Backyard Astronomy with me, Stargazer Mark. We're going to go over here to one of my other favorite telescopes that I've had this for a while. It was given to our museum, and I've used it at a lot of star parties. I'll bet you, Marty, 1,000 people have looked through this little telescope and seen the moon or Jupiter or Saturn over the past couple years. This, again, is an alta-azimuth mount. It turns up and down like a gun turret, and it has on here the knobs to help you move it and match the motion of the stars, all right? Because when you look through a telescope, if it doesn't have a motor drive on it, that we're going to talk about the next episode, their stars or planet or moon are going to move out of the line of sight pretty quickly. And when you're looking here, you can control that by moving them and staying on the object that you're looking at. This here is not a optical eyepiece finder, but is a laser pointer finder. And a lot of telescopes go to laser pointers, or what we call a telrad, which is a red dot that many of you use in hunting or with rifles and guns and so forth, can have a red dot. Lasers will also help you point to the object in the sky. And once again, you got to line them up properly, and it's easier to do that during the daytime, and so you're not so frustrated at night wanting to look at things. So we are also, you might say, well, You know, I'd like something just kind of to throw on the patio back porch or out there on the picnic table once in a while. I don't need all this. Or you're traveling and you're going to maybe like Kansas, where Jessica's from, where the skies are nice and dark, or New Mexico, where one of our employees is going, and you have a telescope in a. Oh yeah, I want to move this away. Thank you. Get that out of the way there. So I'm not in the way. This beautiful 8-inch Dobsonian reflector. Like I said, this is a SkyQuest from Orion. And Orion is one of the vendors out there that deals with all kinds of telescopes. This is a special Bashan loam. And you know Bashan loam makes good quality stuff. And Marty, I'm going to move this down here just a second. Move this over here a little bit so I can show you a quite amazing telescope inside this box. Now, this is not cheap. This is probably in the $1,000 range because this has got some good optics by Bosch and Lohm. And it is a Schmidt Cassegrain. It has a couple eyepieces with it there. I'll pull out the highest number eyepiece. Yes, it does have a cord with it, so that means that it does have a motor that will match the motion of the stars. And bingo, look at this cute little telescope here. I pull it out. It's like the one that I was showing you over there on the right, which I think is an Explorer Scientific. But there you go. Black on black. That's not too good. How about if I move it right there, Marty? There, people can see it a little bit better. Again, it is a combination mirror and lens. All right, just you see the mirror there in the back. The light hits the mirror, comes to this little mirror there that's flat, and then shoots it back up here to the back where I look through the telescope here at the wonders of the night sky. Quite a nifty little telescope, but Bosch and Lohm makes it, and the optics of it is just gorgeous and beautiful. So, well, we hope that you've enjoyed a little bit learning about backyard astronomy. As Marty zooms out, I've got my Bays Mountain Astronomy Club belt buckle on. That's probably 35 years old, and my belly's still about where it was 35 years ago, so I'm happy about that. But we enjoy so much sharing with you the night sky weekly on Stay Curious. And so if you have any questions, you can get a hold of us, info@americanSpaceMuseum.org, message us or make a comment. But we want to kind of emphasize that no matter what kind of telescope you had, it's worthless if you don't use it. It's like having an expensive rod and reel and you never fish with it. Yet somebody with just almost a toy might be wearing it out and having a lot of fun with it. That's what we want you to enjoy from your backyard, because in today's world, it is not no different than 50 years ago or 100 years ago where people had troubles and things on their mind. But there was always the stars up there to look up and get you literally off the earth up into the heavens and forget about your cares for a little bit of time. And that's why I enjoy stargazing all my life and hope that you can spend a little time in your backyard doing so. So until the next time that we talk about looking at our glorious universe from your own backyard, I'm Marquette, and we hope that you stay curious and are star curious the next time we bridge the space between us.